What up? Namaste. Surge Bathesia, aka Corporate Buddha. Namastizzle. Peace, love, happiness. Got a big day tomorrow, 51 tomorrow. I had dinner with a really dear friend of mine, Brendan Moynihan, last night. Thank you, BM. Starting off the B-Day weekend right. Saw my BFF, my best friend from childhood, Patrick Boyd. It was cool because they got to meet as well, so I was happy about that. But I saw him as well last night and got some festivities this weekend, so I'm excited. Grateful. My mom actually got back in from India today, so she had a safe trip, so another thing to be grateful for. And just, I'm going to see the fam and relax this weekend. But, last night my buddy was like, because I actually got let go in December. And that was a real disappointing experience. I had like 8 months in at this firm, and a lot of times, like sales biz dev, you get like a year, some change, but whatever, it is what it is. And so he was just like asking me about like what it is I'm kind of like seeking and what I've been up to. And, straight up, honestly, like the last, this first quarter, these past 3 months have been a blessing in disguise. And life is a gift. And I just had the ability just to like unwind and relax and it wasn't relax, like chilling, relaxing, but like really think through like what's important to me, my next like career move, like what's worked well, what hasn't worked well, why are things not going the way I want, and there was some stern and some frank conversations with myself, right? Like sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and be like, yo, why am I in this situation? Like why am I 50 and I've had like 3 startups not go to plan as planned, and one right now is just not really showing much promise. And and it's like kind of like, okay, well, I've got to keep learning and moving and growing, because without that, so I spent like the last 3 months just working on me, like self-development, like learning about AI and staying focused on that, and starting to use it and like understand it better, and working on like, okay, content creation is important for my career, right? How do I make more of it and scale it quicker, right? And make it more easier to produce and things like that. And then also just on like the job search front, like I really started paying attention, like, okay, what kind of company do I want to work for? Like culture and management are like super important to me, besides the nature of the subject matter. Like I need a company that's like got good people at the helm. And I've only worked for large size companies, right? Like my first job out of law school was working for the Sacramento Kings. I was working for like an NBA team. Come game nights, they got like 1,300 employees. It's a big size company. I've worked for company as big as Madison Square Garden, as large as Caesars Entertainment, had 80,000 people. I mean, it's fucking a lot of people. And I really realized like that's not the stage for me, right? Like I don't want to deal with that many people. Like the politics are insane at big companies. I don't want to do that. So I learned like, okay, like there's some advantages of going to a small to a medium-sized company, right? Like I can have a larger role, a better say. I'm more enthusiastic, right? Like I need like a culture that's like that versus, a company that's got a lot of people. Not a lot of people are going to know each other. And they're not even going to care to want to know each other, right? And that's not me. Like I'm kind of the guy like needs to like, say good morning everyone, like, give a couple of high fives, fist bump, And so it's like, culture and atmosphere and environment's really important to me. Like I need to have that like upbeat, positive experience. I don't do well with like self-loathing and self-pity and shit. And for a while I was in that bitch in mode, and I ain't doing that shit anymore. Like, you can't wait till your life is like easy to be happy. Like, it just doesn't work that way. And I had some tough moments these past 3 months. Like now I'm talking to some people. There's a couple of like opportunities I'm looking at that feel really good for different reasons. And so yeah, I feel really good. Like I know financially I'm having a good year and the rest of my career and all that stuff. But there were some dark moments in these like 90 days, like there was some frank conversations with myself. And one of the things I learned, it was actually last Friday, I won't forget, I had this like dark cloud over me, man. I was fucking in a funk, straight up funk. And yeah, I was literally like in front of a wall and like on this like stool and was just like looking at the wall and it was just like praying. I was like, God, just help me. I was like, I need your help. Like I need your help. And got through those 4 or 5 like really tough hours, and then like come 9 o'clock, I was like, you know what? Let me just send this last email, call it a day. And then I like watched a movie, and I was like, 11 o'clock. I was like, let's go to bed. And I woke up the next day, and I just was feeling better. The next day, I just felt better. And sometimes you got to do that. Like you got to realize like the true win is like getting through the day. Like it's okay to just be okay. And when you're like very like ambitious and strive for success and I was always like, I had that corporate treadmill on pace 10, level 9. Like I straight up out of law school went to the Sacramento Kings. I was a corporate sales manager. And in like 7.5, I think it was like 8 years. Yeah, less than like slightly about 10 years. I was literally a VP at companies as big as AEG and Caesars Entertainment. Like within 7-8 years to do that, that's like a career for a lot of people in sports entertainment. I did it in like 7-8 years. Like that's crazy. And it took a lot out of me. And it was great to be on that fast track to success. But it also like, came with like some things that I wasn't ready for. Like I had like a real serious, like, issue with vodka, look, alcohol's a drug, right? And it was really masking and clouding like a lot of pain inside. And I'll probably on the next video talk about when and why exactly I got into meditation and mindfulness, or just changing my life and taking a life of, more like solitude and relaxation and rest and rejuvenation. But I used to be a fucking party animal. Like literally from the ages of like 17, I really started partying. 17 to like probably like 42, like 42, 43, like 44-ish really. I was like partying a lot. I mean, dude, it's crazy. It's like my whole lifestyle, right? And then it's like, you're looking at 30 plus years of how you're living your life one way, or close to 30 years, living your life one way. You just can't change overnight. Like all the people you hung out with, all the people like you go to bars, you go to clubs, you go to night spots, you're like, you work. So like you go out to get fucked up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or then it was, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then it becomes, Friday, Saturday, right? Because you got to get ready for work. But, you're still never the same. And like I said, I'll talk more about like what made me like really change. But it's basically philosophically, like if you want to be really successful, like I realized like it's like a shopping cart, right? If you got 4 wheels, you can't have one like in the opposite direction. And like how I was living my life is contrary to saying I wanted to be successful, because to be successful, you need your body to operate at a high level. Well, if come Monday, you're like super hungover and you can't even fucking read or think, like you're going to be useless at work. So yeah, like straight up, like it was a pretty convoluted process of changing my lifestyle. Like, I remember the first month I didn't drink. I'll just fucking say it now. I don't need to save it for another video. So basically, there was one morning I woke up I'm trying to think. I must have been 42. I woke up. I literally, it was New Year's Day from New Year's Eve party that I co-hosted with a couple people I'm not even friends with anymore. My heart was palpitating. Like I literally had like probably like 15 vodka Red Bulls the night before. And I couldn't slow like my heart rate down. And I was like really like out of shape, overweight, just eating terrible foods. I would tell myself, oh yeah, I'm on a Atkins diet, eat a lot of meat, but yeah, I was still eating bread, so I don't know what the hell I was trying to fake the funk. And you start doing that corporate sports America, sports entertainment like budgets, like you're hosting in the suites, right? You're eating all that food and that junk. Like it's impossible to stay healthy there, and you're sitting a lot, and then you're traveling a lot, and you're always going out, always hosting, and there's games, and there's events, and like, yeah, everyone thinks it's cool, but like, it's hard as shit. It takes a lot out of you, and there's a lot of politics, and it's crazy, man. But I did that, like I said, for like, better half of a decade, and just wore me out, grinding me down to the bone. And so for me, that morning when I woke up, I was like, if I don't change my lifestyle, I won't be here in 10 years. And so that was the start of it. And I was like, all right, well, let me see if I could do like 30 days, like no drinking. Let me see if I go sober for 30 days. I mean, because I was at the point, like, I would go out, like, if we were going out, like, I could take care of a bottle of vodka myself. We were partying, like, when I was at the Guard, man, we used to party hard. I used to be the fucking ringleader. I was a fucking social chair there. I fucking got the crowd going. We go nuts. We go out. Everyone was partying. We had so much fun there. That was the coolest place I ever worked. I mean, it was the hardest place I ever worked, too. I mean, it was like political fucking landmines everywhere, but it was so much fun. We got the Knicks, the Garden, MSG. Alicia Keys came in and performed 12, 12, 12. I met Jimmy Fallon, like, got to chill with him, and it was just fucking insane. The Rangers were incredible. They were going to like Stanley Cup playoffs and finals, and King Henrik was there, and concerts, and it just was an incredible organization. At that time, like, that was when they were talking about Sphere, but they just built the Forum. I saw JT there. JT was incredible. Dude, it was incredible, and it was just such an amazing experience. I loved it. And then, after that, like, I kind of made some mistakes in my career, like where I went to next. But whatever, irrelevant. Doesn't even matter for this conversation. But I really started to ask myself, like, could I go 30 days and not drink? Like, I hadn't done that in 30 years, lived my life one way, like, to change. I mean, I was partying like Mick Jagger. I just wasn't a rock star. So you fast forward, and I was like, well, let me just try it. Let me just see if I can make it. And like within 2 weeks, like, I went to this play, and there was like this attractive couple sitting in front of, it was like with this buddy of mine, and like the old me would have like figured out a way to like flirt with her and talk to her and like hit on her, even though she was with a date. And obviously now, like, I was well behaved. I wasn't doing that. Just being respectful, to the couple, and letting them enjoy their time. But I saw the play from like a sober lens. And it was cool. I was like, oh, so this was like watching like what a play is like sober. And this is like, yeah, like, this is kind of cool, And so that's when the journey kind of began. And from that, and I wasn't into meditation yet, right? This is like the start of like 17. Like, and it was like, hey, let's start going, like, let's add another month. So I went like 60 days. I didn't have anything to drink. This is someone, mind you, like lived their life away for like 30 years, right? Now it's like all of a sudden you're gonna change 25 years like how you lived your life. You know, it's crazy. And I'll get you the math somewhere that is consistent. I'm just like rambling here. But you know what I'm saying? It was like I was just feeling so good, and then I was like, "Yo, I'm not drinking for a year," and I didn't drink for like, I don't know, like six years. Didn't have a drink, nothing. And then like during that time period, and I'll explain that in another video when the day I got into meditation and stuff, but. That was more like 2018. But like, I lost a ton of weight. I was looking good. I was reading. I was running. I was fucking in shape. I was fit. I was getting into yoga. And yeah, yoga's dope. A lot of gorgeous women there. So all you men who don't like do yoga because you think it's feminine, you're out of your mind. It's so good for the body and mind too, and your health. It's like ridiculous. And I love yoga. I love meditation and mindfulness and breathing and all that stuff. But yeah, it was just literally out of fear that I got into self-care. And then once I started feeling good, and then you become unstoppable, right? And like weight has fluctuated here and there, certain stress and things like that, financial stress and pressure. And when you're going through it, but once you lose that and the stress drops from that, because you know how you're going to kind of make your bread, life starts to really become like a gift. Like, like there's no reason not to have a blessed life, a great life. Like there's no reason not to. And if you don't have it, you got to start looking inside and looking in the mirror, because once you take responsibility for your life, like no one's going to come save you. You gotta take care of what you got to take care of. And I'm really happy. I'm 50 tonight, going on 51 in the morning, and it's going to be a great year. And I thank all the people who've stood by me through all these times. My family's incredible. Like I said, a couple of my best friends last night, Patrick Boyd, Brendan Moynihan, like just all my friends, man. All my friends. I can't thank you enough, One of my investors actually just called. This guy Noor is amazing. I mean, he just called to wish me happy birthday, and just so many people. I can't thank him enough, my mom, my brother Karen, Jenny's sister-in-law, just everyone, uncle, everyone. I don't want to start naming people because there's going to be like 100 people I leave out or 30 people I leave out. So, but I love you all. Say a prayer for me. Happy 51st. Say a prayer for all of us. We need to have a good year. Everyone needs to be healthy, happy. I would like to say, if you want to give me a birthday present, just start treating people better. Like not everyone has a upfront battle that about, like straight up, like things I've gone through. Like people would never guess it, because I'm always happy, or at least try to be positive. But like that doesn't mean inside, like there's days like I find it tough. I struggle, right? Just like you, just like everyone else. So never know that battle someone else is facing. So maybe just give someone some grace, because you never know. That'd be a good birthday wish. That, and get some form of self-care for yourself. And it's something about meditation. Hit me up. Let's talk. Mindfulness, meditation, yoga. Those are my jams. All right, folks. Peace, love, happiness. Namastizzle. Happy 51st to this guy. Deuces.